So welcome everyone to this very special and unique event for Africa ELTA. We are celebrating tonight our female classroom teachers who come from different countries in Africa.
Amira, you are muted.
Thank you. So can you hear me now? You can hear me now, I think, but you hear me from a different device. So I hope okay, great. Thank you for the confirmation. And again, welcome to this very unique event for Africa ELTA. We are celebrating tonight our female classroom teachers who have completed the female leadership mentoring program this year. We are holding this program for the third year, and we are very glad that we are running it this year with our very able and very unique Africa ELTA mentors, males and females. I would like to thank all the mentors who have worked really hard on this program this year to help our teachers and to go through the different stages of the process with them until the big day today. We have two parts of the event. The first part is tonight, and the second part is going to be next week at the same time. We have 9 mentees who have successfully completed the program, and they are going to be presenting tonight and next week at the same time as well. The purpose of this program is basically to help and support African female classroom teachers to become more visible at ELTA conferences internationally, not only in Africa. We have had the program in the 2 previous years, and this is the third time we hold this program with our mentors and using the tools that we have at Africa ELTA after identifying the need as a board to support female teachers in Africa to present at conferences, and not only conferences, but also local events. We had our past mentees coming back to the program this year to also become mentors, supporting their colleagues, and we are very proud of all of them. I'm going to mention the names of the mentors at the end, just to give them a word of thanks, but I don't want to take much time from our presenters' presentations time today. So you're going to start right away so you can listen to their presentations and enjoy the topics that they have selected over 3 months and worked on with their mentors to present tonight and give us a very professional presentations. We have our first presenter tonight from Côte d'Ivoire. Marie is a current graduate student studying for her master's. She already has leadership skills that she already practiced in her local context in Côte d'Ivoire by starting a center for the underprivileged students and working with them. She joined this program to gain the necessary skills to be able to present internationally, and also to be able to join Africa ELTA events as a presenter and share her experiences with her teachers locally and of course internationally as well. Marie is going to present to us today in 15 minutes. After her presentation, you can ask her questions using the chat box, or if you would like to use your mic, you can raise your hand. I'm going to be able to unmute you so you can ask her the questions in the mic. Marie, you have 15 minutes starting from now. You can share your screen and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Amira. Thank you everybody for being here today. And I will share my screen now so that I could start my presentation. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here today. Today, I would like to talk about reflection as a teacher My topic is stimulating reflection in teaching practices. As Amira introduced me already, I'm Marianne Nguessan from Côte d'Ivoire, and it's a pleasure for me to be with you today. The aim of my presentation today is to talk about reflection. What is reflection? How is reflection going to be done as a teacher, and why as a teacher we need to reflect? The expected outcome is for my fellow teachers to understand more what reflection is as a teacher, be comfortable with the reflection process, and finally understand the benefits of reflection. A brief introduction about myself is, as Amira said, I'm a graduate from the University of Stirling. Before getting to teaching, I was a translator and interpreter in French and English for the past 10 years. I happen to love children, and I help some friends teaching English to young learners in different schools as creative activities, after school activities, also for the past 10 years, but not fully. And simply realized last year that what I really want to do is teaching, and grabbed the opportunity of the Chevening program to come to the UK and be studying an MSc in Management and English Language Teaching. And throughout my courses at the University of Stirling, I heard my lecturers talking about reflecting, reflection. Before moving forward in my presentation, I would like to ask you a question. Please answer yes or no, either in the chat box or just turn your microphone on and tell me. Have you, in the course of your studies, primary school, secondary school, university, have you heard about reflection or being reflective? Could you please tell me yes or no? Yes, Kasumi saying yes in the chat box, okay. Who else is saying yes? Yes. Debra is telling me yes. Well done, okay. My friend from Francophone Africa, have you heard in your school, when you were in primary school, have you been taught how to reflect? No, no, good. Well, for me, it was difficult because I didn't know what reflection was. I studied in Côte d'Ivoire, in a Francophone country, and at no point I have been told to reflect. I have been taught how to reflect. I know what reflection is and how it's going to get me to. So I was very worried and scared. What is reflection? Now, I went into looking for definitions, and the first definition that I found was from Stanley. And he says reflection is a proactive, ongoing process of evaluating one's belief, practice, origin, and impact. My goodness, when I read this, I told myself, oh my God, what is all this? It got me even more confused. And then I looked for other definition so that I could have a better understanding of what reflection is. And I look into particularly what reflective teaching is. And it says reflective teaching involves examining underlying belief about teaching, learning, and one's alignment with actual classroom practice before, during, and after a course is taught. Made it more complicated for me. Then I wanted to make it simple because I was like reflecting, I don't know what it is. So I was so scared because every project we have to submit need to be reflective. So I didn't really know how to go about it. So I literally sat down on the floor in my room and I told myself, calm down, Marianne. Because I'm a visual learner, I needed to picture what reflection is. So I look into that definition, and for me, I had some key element that I could picture: a teacher, a classroom practice, a course, an environment, and I could also look at different periods: before the teaching, during the teaching, and after the teaching. So I told myself, I'm going to stick into that and make it really down to earth so that I could understand. So this is how I summarize it. Reflective teaching has 4 key elements: the teacher, the learner, the content, and the classroom. Now, in terms of time frame, I have 3 time frames: before my teaching, during my teaching, and after my teaching. This was clear for me now that this is what reflection is actually going to be doing. Now, how? I know now that I have 3 before, during, after, that I have my key elements, but how am I going to go about it? Because I'm a visual learner, for me, reflection was like a sofa, and I love the orange color. So I picture in my head a sofa, and I told myself, okay, so for me, reflection is a sofa, and the sofa is going to be the place where I will be comfortable, I will be satisfied of what I did. So when you sit in the sofa, you feel relaxed after a day of work. But before you sit in that sofa, somebody has thought about the sofa. So let's take the sofa in this area: before, during, after. Before you have that sofa, somebody has thought about making it. The material, the color, the shape, how it's going to be, somebody thought about that. And then when you finish thinking about that, we went into where the sofa is going to be built, to be produced, and we produce it. And after, you have somebody using the sofa. Now that I have my analogy of the sofa, material, shape, who is going to sit into, where it is going to be producing it, and after someone sitting into, let's go into teaching. Now here, I identify that the 4 legs of my sofa are my learners, my content, my teacher, and my learning environment. And my sofa represents my reflection, where I will feel comfortable as a teacher. If at any point of my presentation you lost, please stop me, ask a question, I will answer. I'm also looking into the chat box. So my reflection here at the moment is that sofa, making me comfortable in my teaching practice, before, during, and after. Now that I have my sofa in my head, and then let me change the sofa for the teaching. Before, during, and after. As a teacher, what shall I consider before? The method I'm going to use, the emotion that I may have, the physical appearance that I may have. As a teacher, for example, before I go to my classroom, I will make my plan. I will have the technique that I'm going to be using. But let's go beyond that. Imagine that you are teaching in the afternoon where it's very hot. What type of clothes am I going to wear? I know it's hot in my classroom, so I'm not going to wear black. I'm not going to wear red because I will feel hot, and maybe my emotions are going to be impacted by this color. I live far from the school. How long will it take me to get to the school? So all these elements are going to impact on me as the person and on the way I'm going to render my teaching. During my teaching, I will look at how my application of the techniques, the timing that I have, the reaction of the lecture of the learners. And after the teaching, I will assess it to see if they've got it or not. Same thing for the content. In the content, what would I look into? I will look into the lesson plan itself, how it is run, how it is organized, what activities have I planned, is in line with the learners, the teaching material that I'm going to have, the age that I have, the assessment criteria I'm going to use. During, I will look at the sequence of the activities, how my activities are run. Am I following it? Afterward, do I have a tool which is going to help me assess the knowledge that I've been rendering? Looking at my teaching environment. Before my class, what am I looking into? The arrangement of the class, of the table, how the things are put, the equipment I have. During my teaching, how do I use this space where the teaching is taking place? What is my position within the classroom? What is the position of the learner? And then after that, I can look into ways to rearrange it and make sure that I have enough space, I have enough room. I know sometimes we work in different circumstances where we can barely move around the classroom, but at least this is in my head and I know how to go about it. Now, my learner, before my classroom, I know the class I'm going to be teaching. I know the age they have. I know in which classroom they are, which level. Is it a grade 7, 8, 9, 10, 6? Which grade are they on? I may know some family background in sometimes, look into it, the gender within my classroom to see the balance. During the class, the teaching, what am I looking into? The attention, the motivation, the interaction within the classroom, and afterward, the takeaway. Now, how is this going to impact me as a teacher if I look into all this? I couldn't think more about something and I got this image. I will feel so comfortable, you know. As a teacher, I've achieved my goal because I look at all these areas of my teaching, all the key elements before, during, and after, and I feel satisfied. I have a full picture of my teaching and I know actually how to go about it. Now let's go deep into what the teacher will gain in terms of benefit by using reflection. Because you look into your practice before, during, and after, that you look at your key elements, you can picture more specifically what you did good, what you didn't do good, and what you need to improve. So as a teacher, you have a self-esteem. Your self-esteem is going to grow because you handle it. You know how to do stuff. You know how to take a step forward to do it. It is also a way for you to continuously build your teaching skills and your professional skills. It helps you innovate and be more impactful towards your learners, toward yourself, and also your fellow teachers. In terms of content, you make the content more engaging, richer, and it also helps in terms of replication because every teacher can replicate what you've done because you'll be sharing your reflection with your teachers and see how it goes about and how you can improve it. In terms of teaching environment, sometimes we don't have that much impact on the environment because that environment is dictated by the school or the place where you teach, but at least the classroom where you are, you can arrange it the way you want and do stuff the way you want it to be done. You also have a growing support within the classroom because you're going to build such a confidence that finally this environment is going to be supportive for your learners and it will be more organized purposefully based on the objectives that you would like to achieve. And in terms of learner, most importantly, you will get them very focused and engaged. You will increase motivation because in that process of reflecting, you have different tools that you can use. You can journal it, you can video record it. You can also ask the learners what they think about it. By doing also all these elements, you get a sense of connection with them. You have an intentional learning and everything goes well within your classroom. So as a recap, what reflection is a deep thinking about your teaching practice before, during, and after, so that you can look at all the elements, the content, the classroom, the learners, and yourself. You do it by looking at 360 degrees, and it gives a non-benefit for you, for the learners, for the environment, and for the entire community. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm open to questions if you have any, and I hope you learned something from my presentation. These are the references that I use, and we can get connected.
Thank you very much, Marie, for your presentation. And we already enjoyed reflecting as you were talking. This is a very important topic for us as teachers to keep reflecting on our practices. There is okay, Deborah said in the chat box she appreciates the metaphor of the sofa. It's really very interesting, and also for me, it's the first time to hear it about the reflection. So as our audience is maybe thinking of the questions, I have a question to ask you, Marie.
Okay.
Oh, we have one
question. We have one question
okay.
in the chat box. Okay.
Yeah.
Can Marie share an example of how she has put it in practice in her own teaching? Good. In the course of my dissertation, I research young learners in the center that I have opened, and they were age 5 to 7. The objective was to teach them vocabulary through storytelling. And I used the story of the very hungry caterpillar to teach them words, vocabulary words of fruits and colors. The first step that we did was to teach colors. And I taught them colors using this story. I used the French version of the story, taught the vocabulary, use French and teach them. I use total physical response to show and point. I use repetition and translation at some point because the first language is French. And when we got to the post-story activities, they had to choose one fruit, which was blank, and choose one pencil color and tell me the color of that pencil and color the fruit of it. We did it sitting on a mat, and the mat was a rough mat. And I noticed that children on the mat, they were coloring, and there was the shape of the mat that was on the paper. And some of them were not comfortable doing it because one of them told me, oh, my paper has become completely different because I see shapes on it. So I couldn't do anything at that time because I didn't have any tables for them to sit down. I thought it was being more easy because I had 3 cycles of research to do. On the second cycle, what I did is I provided a table and a chair for them. And the second cycle, we taught the fruits. So because we did color, they could tell me which fruit is red, which fruit is green, which fruit is that color. So what we did was another activity, cut and paste, and I changed to give them a table. And I saw that on the table, there was very colorful table, very small table for their age. They felt more comfortable and they were happy. And the one that was telling me that he didn't like the shape on his paper was telling me, oh, I love the tables, it's lovely. And he was even asking me if he can take the table home. And I was like, maybe not, but maybe I will check with your mom if we can have a table like this for you. So I can say that in that teaching is the classroom environment that was a problem here, because the mat that we use was giving shapes on the drawing, but changing that environment created something where they felt more comfortable sitting. So I think that's part of the reflection for me, helped me change something within my teaching and create another environment with the learners. I don't know if this answers your question.
That's really great. Yeah, how do you say? Super. Okay. And the idea of you, Mary, also involving the students in the reflection is really amazing. How we as teachers can involve our students in reflecting. This is interesting because you always talk about teachers reflecting on their practices, but also you had your students as a source of your reflection. We have a question in the chat box. How can you quit interpretation for teaching? Oh, this is not related to this presentation, so maybe you don't need
How
to
can you
answer
quit
this.
interpreting for teaching? I don't know. I can understand. I've not quit interpreting for teaching. I am a multi-talented person. So I still interpret, but I'm more focused into a particular angle of interpretation. And teaching is my heart, actually. I try to avoid it, but I can't, I simply can't. So I jump into it. Yeah. And what I can say is interpretation you give to people, but you're not part of it. But when you teach, you have this transfer of knowledge and you learn from the environment. And every teaching class is a time for you to learn and bond with people, and especially with children. And it's refreshing. I can't compare.
Wonderful presentation. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marie. You are indeed a reflective teacher. From your comments and the way that you responded to questions, we really learned a lot from you and from your experience. And thank you for the great and inspiring presentation. It's really a great start to tonight's presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's really an honor for me. And I would like to thank Wendy. She's been really supportive in doing this. Amira, Harry, thank you. That's a nice opportunity for me. And I'm heartfelt, thank you. Thank you.
Most welcome, and we are glad to have you on board and looking forward to your future presentations and other events as well.
With pleasure.
Okay, Marie is done and we enjoyed the first presentation tonight. We are going to move now to our next presenter, our next star of the night. We have Mwanidi from Tanzania. Mwanidi is a secondary school teacher in Tanzania, and she has a passion for teaching. And also, she didn't write this in her bio, but I know she also likes storytelling. Mwanidi is not going to tell us a story tonight, but she's going to give us a great presentation, I'm sure. Rose, her mentor, is here also to help with screen sharing. So Rose, you can share the screen, and Mwanidi, you have 15 minutes.
Thank you, Amira. Okay, so while we're waiting for my mentor Rose to share the screen, here is something I want to begin with. I want us to imagine ourselves as a teacher fresh from the university, just employed in Serengeti National Park, and all the animals in the jungle are your students. So today you have to give them a test. And the only kind of test you have is each animal have to climb on a very big, huge, tall mango tree. Do you think it is fair for all of these kind of animals to do just a single test to qualify for a certificate? Do you think it is fair enough to consider all these animals with different abilities, capabilities, strength, skills, to give them just a single test to assume that they are equal in each and everything? This call for my today's presentation that is called Differentiation for the Contemporary EFL Classroom. Specifically, I'm going to talk about how to differentiate speaking through multimedia. Presenting to you is Mwanidi Mwacha from Kigoma, Tanzania. Welcome on board. Amira, I'm just waiting for my slide.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Rose in. I think she has a problem with the connection.
No problem. So please, in the chat box, you can share your opinion concerning this scenario. Do you think it's fair for all the animals to do a single test? What should be done in case related to our student? Do you think it is fair? If yes or no, tell me why in the chat box, please. Thank you. I can see your response here. Most of you say it is very unfair for us teachers to imagine, to assume that our learners have everything in common. Very unfair. Yes, I agree. So all this call for differentiation, no matter how it is hard, no matter how the big class you think you have a purpose. You have to take care of these kids because their future lies on our hands. Yes, it is not fair, yeah. Their abilities are not the same. They come from different backgrounds with everything different. The culture, yeah. the prior knowledge of language. Yes, Dalo, yeah. Yes, Deborah, yeah. And these are the kind of tests we give our students. So just try to relate this story to your class. How do you differentiate assessment in your classroom, for example? You have the lions in the classroom. You have the tigers, the elephants, the monkeys. You have the bears, the poor hyenas. So is it fair for them to climb on the same big, huge, tall mango tree for them to qualify for a certificate? Total unfair. So something must be done. Yes. While we're waiting for the slides, maybe you can share something about differentiation. Yes. So I'm going to pass you through the meaning of differentiation, the meaning of multimedia, how is differentiation applicable in our large classes, also the tips that are used in my classroom here in Kigoma, and they're very successful, despite the fact that Kigoma is one of the marginalized region here in Tanzania with poor infrastructures, poor bandwidth, network connection, everything is a bit low. But as a teacher, I know I have a purpose. And that purpose is to make sure that my students learn. Someone says there is no teaching if there is no learning. So I have tried my best to differentiate.
Wanidi, would you like to share your slides in the chat box? I can open them for you because Rose is not here yet. We lost her.
Okay, let me try.
Are you sending it or not? Wanidi, are you still there? Okay. I think she's frozen for me. Um, this can be a connection issue as well. Okay. Yeah, network issue. So I think we can now move to the third presenter until Monidi sorts this out also with her slides. So our next presenter is Crystal. Crystal, I see you're here.
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everybody.
Okay, I'm sorry for the surprise.
It's okay.
But
It's
I'm sure
okay.
you're ready. So we are going to move now to Crystal, our next presenter from Cameroon. Crystal is an English teacher in Cameroon, and she's going to present to us tonight about, okay, yeah, you need to have the first slide. A very interesting topic about gender. I'm not going to share more, but she's going to tell us everything. So Crystal, the floor is yours. You have 15 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions and answers at the end.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Good evening, everybody. My name is Christelle Njuko. I am an English as second language and French as second language teacher in Cameroon. And tonight I'll be presenting on promoting gender balance and inclusion through English language teaching. Before I start, I have a small worry. A friend of mine told me today that she has given birth, and she sent me the picture of her triplets. And I say, oh, are they boys or girls? She said, oh, use your common sense and guess. So I was not like thinking, I said, okay, tonight I'm meeting fantastic people. We will all use our common sense to guess. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the first picture that she sent me. This baby in blue. Can we guess, is it a boy or a girl? The baby in blue. You can mute yourself and answer or write your answer in the chat box. The baby in blue is boy, is girl or boy? Amira, please help me read the answers.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, the baby is blue is boy, okay. And then the baby in pink, is it boy or girl? Yes, just using our common sense. Oh, what has happened? I think Mwanzi, Masha.
Monidi, you don't need to start. Sorry, Crystal, go ahead.
So where should I? Okay. Do you? Oh my. Oh. Do you still see my screen or not?
No, not now. You can share it again.
Is it okay now? Hello.
No, it's not shared yet.
So you can't see my screen?
No, it's not shared. Can you try to share it again?
Okay, I'll start over. Slideshow from the beginning. What about now?
No, you need to go to Zoom first and share the screen.
Okay. So I'll start afresh. That's it.
Yes, as you did it the first time.
Are we okay now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so we were saying that this is the girl. Okay, now the third picture. This baby is a third baby that came. Voila. The baby was the last born. This one. She sent me this picture. Now, is it a boy or a girl? Please write your answer in the chat box. This other baby, the first two people say boy, girl. Now, what about this one? Amira, please, can you help me reading the answers? Is it a boy or a girl?
Okay, we have guesses. A girl, a boy.
So, okay. Thank
Difficult to
you.
guess.
Difficult to guess. Okay. So thank you very much. So why did I choose this topic? I chose this topic because in this type of presentation, we are expecting linguistic related topic, like the first one was about reflective, other topic would be about grammar, vocabulary. I wanted to bring in something new. I wanted to bring humanity in teaching, because language is not just linguistic, it's beyond that. I'm also a social linguist, and I know that society and language are linked together. You cannot dissociate them. So this topic of gender equality, I choose it because it is in line with my current professional and civic engagement goal, because as I just said, teaching is not just about linguistic, beyond that. And I also choose this topic because the issue that this topic is talking about is still up to date. Gender equality is still up to date. And if we take this into consideration, it will lead to a positive impact. If in our classroom, we try to promote gender balance and inclusion, we have a next generation with more female leaders, with more girls doing STEMs and stuff like that. That's why this topic was so dear to my heart. So for this presentation, we will have a little introduction, then we will see how gender stereotype reinforced in the classroom, and then how we can do to promote gender equality and inclusion. Then as a teacher, I will not leave you without the homework. I'll give you a little homework with hope that you will do it. So as an introduction, ladies and gentlemen, I will say that, as I said earlier, the teaching, our work is facing so many problems, and I think it would be unfair if us English teachers, we just concentrate on teaching linguistics. We should go beyond that. We should look for ways to answer or to solve this problem that the world is facing. I'm currently a global school advocate. That is a program that is here to promote education for sustainable development goals. We had 17 development goals, and my main goal, among other, is gender equality. So it means that in our classroom, we should look for ways to promote these goals. So gender equality has been a burning topic for years, and yet boys and girls still don't have the same opportunities. The classroom is a good place to promote gender unbiased and inclusive learning environment, and contribute, by the way, to the destruction of gender stereotypes and the promotion of gender equality and even gender equity. Without us knowing, because the way gender stereotypes are reinforced in our teaching or learning material is not something obvious, it's subtle. Without us knowing, we reinforce stereotypes maybe through our classroom setup, our classroom management, our teaching and learning material, the lesson plan, and the language that we use in class. So what is the problem that this topic is want to address? Oh, yeah. Hello. My screen won't move. So please, are you getting me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the problem that this topic wants to address is that despite the continuous effort of humanists, of activists, of the United Nations, of many NGOs to fight, I don't want to say fight because it looks like, oh, this is the war we are fighting. Okay, I would say to solve this problem, or to balance the thing, we're still talking about gender equality. So what can us teachers do? Us teachers, we can contribute to this fight by being very attentive to some of our classroom practice. And by so doing, we will be promoting education for sustainable development in our classes. That's the possible solution of the problem raised by this topic. So I will not, I could not do it without this famous quote from Nelson Mandela, which says, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. We are changing the world because there's something wrong, because there are some problem there, because the world is facing so many challenges. I will say that English language teaching is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, which you can use to promote gender equality, which you can use to fight gender stereotypes. So how you may be asking yourself, oh, me, this teacher that I'm teaching so well, how am I reinforcing gender stereotype? Believe me or not, dear colleagues, through our classroom setup, if you don't look at how boys and girls are sitting, if you don't pay attention to that, somewhere we are reinforcing stereotypes. If you are not paying attention to the classroom interaction, if in our classroom maybe expression like, oh, stop acting like a girl, you are doing like a boy. If we heard such expression in our class and we let it go, ladies and gentlemen, we are reinforcing gender stereotypes. Like, don't cry like a girl. What is it? What is shameful in crying like a girl? If you hear this type of expression in our classroom or out of the classroom and we let it go, it means that we are agreeing that yes, a boy should not do this, a girl cannot. These are what I mean by classroom interaction and even interaction between students. Classroom management. How do we manage our classroom? When, for example, you want to decorate your classroom, Christmas was just the other day. If you were to decorate your classroom, who are you likely between your students to ask that, oh, please bring me a nice flower? I'm sure that in the back of our head, we are saying girls, which is something, it's like, it's already normal in our head that girls are the one that can do decoration. Now in our classroom, where there's a broken bench, to whom do we say, come and carry this broken bench? Definitely, some of us will think about the boys, and it's become normal, which is not normal, because by so doing, we are reinforcing the fact that maybe girls are weak, girls are good at this, boys are not good at that. These are what I call my classroom management. Also, our classroom material. This is where we will lay more emphasis. Classroom material, the books, the text, the classroom posters. Do we pay attention to that? Dear colleagues, do we ever pay attention to the images found in the textbook? The images, what are they reinforcing? What are they sending across as message? The women or the girls represented in the course book, are they empowering? Are they giving boys and girls the same image? Are they giving them wings to fly? Do they empower both boys and girls? For example, if there's an image of in a hospital, for example, in our textbook, do we ever pay attention to see whether the nurse is always a woman and the doctor, the surgeon is a man? If yes, if we see this type of image and they are regular and we don't feel like there's something wrong, we are reinforcing gender stereotypes. The text that we use for our reading comprehension or whatsoever, do we make sure that they are free from gender stereotypes, or do they reinforce them? When you read the text, the man that saved the village, he went and fight the lion. It's always the same story. And the woman, when the text is about the woman, is a woman that raised her kids alone. She was a widow, things like that. This is so cliche, because in the real life, we can see a man that is raising his kids alone. In real life, a woman can save the village from a dangerous lion. It's possible. So, do we make sure that the text that our students read, do they empower them? Can a girl read a text from our class and say, oh, this woman, this is my inspiration? Or that text is just a reflection of what is society, because gender norms are created by the society that the woman does. They are not normal. They are not, they're so natural. So do we pay attention to that? If no, then ladies and gentlemen, from today, we should be a little more careful. We should reflective teaching. Our reflective teaching now should also be gender inclined. Then the posters found in our classroom, do they portray boy dressed in the blue dress, like the baby boy in blue? People say it was a boy because that's what the society had made us to know, that blue is the color of boy. I am a girl, but I don't like pink, and it's normal. Why is it that if you see me behind, I'm wearing a blue, maybe I don't have hair, you guess that I'm a boy? For me, it's like, these are just gender stereotypes. So the posters in our classroom, which image do they send to boys and girls? If the image, for example, is talking about environment, is the girl holding a cutlass and the boy holding a hoe? Have you ever seen something like that? If not, why? So this is why I'm saying that our classroom materials sometimes are not powerful, are not sending across powerful message, empowering message to both boys and girls. We are not saying that boys should behave like girls and girls behave like boys. No, we are saying that our classroom material should be balanced in such a way that both feel empowered, both feel like they have wings to fly. So how can we just do to promote gender equality? I think from what we have just said, it's clear, it's obvious that we should be attentive to our classroom setup, to our classroom management, and then the material that we choose, we should make sure that they are free from gender stereotypes. But since we are not the one choosing the material, like the course that we use, if you find in your book something that is reinforcing gender stereotypes and which is not promoting inclusion, let's make an effort to do a critical analysis with it with our student. Like, for example, the story of the man who saved the village. We can ask our student to rewrite that story and make sure that the main character is a woman, and ask them that, is the story still accurate? They will say yes, because yes, a woman can save the village from, I don't know, from a dangerous something. She can. So we should also organize, we can also organize activity that break gender stereotypes. Like you can see on the picture, a race between boys and girls should be normal, a cooking competition, things like that. And yes, we should be a role model in our way, in the way that we look, in the way that we talk with our students, in the way that we behave. Us teachers, for example, we tend to be more sensitive when there is a girl in class which is not feeling fine. We are more like, oh, what are you? What is it? Are you okay? What's wrong? But when it's a boy, we don't care. Why? Boys are so sensitive. They also feel things. They also need to be attended. But because society has said that, gender norms said that they are boys, they don't need this, they should be strong, they don't cry. And even in our classroom, we also do that, which is not correct. We should make sure that our English language classroom create a gender responsive environment for all, for both boys and girls. Now, you might say that this is just talking, and, and nothing concrete. So let me show you some images that are found in the book used in Cameroon for CZM. CZM is the first class after primary school. This is the cover page. This first image is the cover page. Please, what do you see in this cover page? A kind person to unmute him or herself and answer, please. This is the cover page of the book for CZM. This is the first image. What do we see?
They breasted all boys.
Yes, they are all boys. So me, as a student in CZM, if I look at this book, I will say, this is international CZM for boys. Maybe the one of girl is coming soon. I will feel like I don't identify myself with this cover page. 2 boys, 2 girls, that would be fair. Now, this is a picture. This is another picture found in the book. You see this lady. This is so cliche. She's cleaning. Do boy or men don't clean? They clean. In our book, we should also see men cleaning, something normal. Now that somebody is having a computer, it's a man. And then we are saying now that we should encourage girls to do STEM. Then the course book should also show girls doing STEM thing. If somebody should be near a computer, that should be a girl. Now, the man is farming, and then the woman, she's a tailor. You see that this type of images are not empowering. They are not empowering. This is another image. This one, we see a boy and a girl. The dress is the same. They are shaking hands respectfully. This is a good image. There's no stereotypes here. This is perfect. The next image too, we see a girl and a boy cooking. The first thing like that shows that it's a girl, she's wearing pink. I don't like pink color, sincerely. So this is a good image that the boy and the girl can be in the kitchen. But do you know what is the text about? The text is about Mary making salad. So the boy is just there to assist her. Everyone loves Mary's salad. It could have been John making the salad. Do John in the real life does John can also make his salad and Mary assists him. It should be something normal. So these are some of the things. Now, the last image from the book is this text. This is a real person, because so far we were seeing character. This is a real person. Chuzan is a young Cameroonian. You see the little boy in CZM, he will see this man, he will read the story, and he will identify himself with this person. He will say, I would like to do it too. But the little girl, she will just feel like, okay, and that lady the other was cleaning. This image is empowering, yes, but it empowers boys more than girls. Boys are already over-empowered on TV, in the street, everywhere. But so we need to, I'll call it positive discrimination. We need to empower girls more than boys in our classroom practice, in our course book. It's positive discrimination, so that we will fix the balance. because we are all aware that in our society, especially in Africa, women are still behind leadership position and things like that. And I believe that is the mindset. Everything starts from the mindset. If the mindset is that women are made for this, women are made for that, that's how we grow. So the classroom is a perfect place to stop that, to break that, those gender stereotypes with that has made up with voilà, those gender stereotypes that have become part of us. Now look at the text. They say Artisan is a young Cameroonian, the cardio part is a touch cream, nurses and doctor in rural location. Nurses and doctor. When you think about nurses, ladies and gentlemen, do you think about men or women? The first thing that comes to your mind when you hear nurses, you think about the woman. When you see doctor, it can be a female doctor, but the first thing, it's like, it's natural, it's something that we have on us. We think about man. So this type of expression can be cancelled. You could have said the medical personnel in rural location. You see, this is a more neutral language. These are some of the things that we are talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the assignment that I will give you. This is the homework. And the person that will not do his homework, he will have -5. And the person that will do will have +5. So as a homework, within the week, I plead on you, take any book that you are using in your classes, open at random 10 pages and look at the images. How many boys or women, how many girls or men, how many men are presented in a domestic, doing something domestic like cleaning or washing or taking care of the baby. Then count the number of women that are presenting doing domestic something. Then also count the number of men that are presenting in a powerful position, and also the number of women presented in the powerful position, and then draw your own conclusion. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the homework. And if you are kind enough, you can share your result on the Africa ELTA Facebook page. I'll come and read. And then those who deserve the +5, I'll give their +5. So, let me, oh, my screen will move again. I don't know why. Okay. Now, this was the homework. Let me conclude. I'll conclude, ladies and gentlemen, by saying that the classroom is a powerful environment where we can shape the mind and personality of our students, where we can rewrite the story of women and boys, where we can rewrite the story of humanity. I don't know why my screen is not moving, but I had some useful website, but the screen has stopped. So I will I'll conclude by saying that us English language teacher, let our classroom practice and material be as gender neutral as the baby in white. Remember the baby in white, we could not guess whether he was or she. He was a she or a he, we could not guess. So let our classroom be like that, gender neutral. Let the English language teacher be the way through which boys and girls are aware that they were born equal in dignity and in right, and that there's no barrier that should stop them from dreaming big, from achieving their goal, regardless of their biological differences. Because yes, they are just biologically different, but they have the same capacity, the same abilities. This is the end of my presentation. I'm really sorry that the screen is no more moving. This is the end of my presentation. And if you have questions, ladies and gentlemen, I'm open to all your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Crystal, and we enjoyed your presentation and the homework that you gave us. We are going to be sharing our thoughts on the Africa ELTA Facebook page as you instructed us to do. I hope you can read the chat box. We have a lot of comments from the audience and on the topic, and on also your way of presenting it to us as a passionate teacher who really believes in the cause. So thank you for your passion and also for sharing your experience with us. Great presentation. I did a talk about sexism in English language textbooks, and things haven't changed enough. Your presentation is a proof of that.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. I'm just reading the comments in the chat box. Thank you for helping us all reflect on gender stereotypes in our classrooms, because sometimes we do things consciously. So this is really a very important way for us to reflect on our practices as teachers that can be sometimes unnoticed.
Thank you.
Excellent presentation, great presentation. I don't see any questions. It's all like congratulations to Crystal.
Thank you very much. Amira, I will feel bad if I don't end by saying a big thank you to Beatrice. She has been very, very awesome. Thank you so, so much. Thank you so, so much. She was the best mentor, the best.
And you did great. I'm very proud of you. Someone is asking about the homework. If you can write it down in the chat box. So it's really good that you have people asking for the homework to do. So you can write it maybe in the chat box, Crystal. Okay. Thanks everyone for your comments, and thank you, Crystal, again for the presentation. I hope you can respond to some of these positive comments in the chat box. Okay, I think we are ready now to move on to our next presentation. Rose is here, so we can, yes, we can move with Monidi. Very good job, Monidi, keeping us engaged while Rose was preparing to jump in. So she's here now, and you have all the tools to share your screen and start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening once again. So I'm back with differentiation in the contemporary EFL classroom. So as I told you earlier that today I'll focus on how we can differentiate speaking through multimedia. And my name is Mwanaidi Mwacha from Kigoma, Tanzania, as I said earlier. And here is a roadmap for us today. I'm going to pass you through the meaning of differentiation and also the meaning of multimedia. And we are going to uncover the mystery behind instructional design. How is differentiation important? Where did it originated and with what motives? Also later on, we are going to uncover the ways to differentiate speaking. And later on, you are going to, sorry, the power went off, so you can manage to see me like that. Also later on, you are going to see the tips which I use to make my classroom in a good way so that I can differentiate speaking in my classroom. And here is our driving question. How can we differentiate speaking through multimedia? So in the chat box, if you will please, can you write how you differentiate speaking through multimedia in your classroom? Have you ever used a multimedia? So you can write it in the chat box. And Rose, you can help me read it.
Okay, someone said no.
Yeah, I can see. Okay, while you are writing, I can proceed, Rose. No, Geraldine. Yes, I use videos. Yes, music. Good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. As you can see, differentiation is not something new to us teachers, but rather forgotten due to many reasons. Our life class being there, the first one. So, differentiation refers to the instructional instructors' ways of providing their diverse classes with a range of ways to understand classroom. So as teachers, we are struggling each and every day to learn as we plan in our lesson plan daily. So how can we differentiate? This is where the problem comes, because we have large classes, we have minimal resources, and every sort of problems as far as teaching is concerned. So here is a way that I can share today with you all is a use of multimedia. So a multimedia is a system of relying information or entertainment that includes many different forms of communication. As you can see here, now identify what are these media that I'm referring to. So we have the TV, have the radio, podcast, we have the music, the drums, and every sort of thing that students can use and help them talk in the English language classroom. We need to make our classroom motivating, appealing, and captures the attention of the students. We need to make them enjoy the learning. So here is a little something that I want to share with you is about ADI instructional design. So here is all the things that originated. For example, how do we know that differentiation is important? So it's all comes away from here on the analysis stage. So as teachers, before we go to the classroom, we need to analyze our learners' needs and come up with a learner's profile. Also, we need to analyze ourselves as teachers. What do we need? What are our expectations before we enter the class? What are our stakeholders' needs? We are employed either privately or by the government. Each, they need something from us. So the analysis stage is a fundamental and the ground floor where all these 5 stages from designing, developing, implementation, and evaluation, they all rely on analysis stage. So as teachers, we need to know which kind of class do we have. So it's a large class, yes. How many, what kind of student do we have in the classroom? For example, in my classroom, Kigoma, I have 2 sets of people in the classroom. The first one, they came from English medium, where they use English language as a medium of instructions. I have a large group of students come from public institutions where English was just a subject. So in this kind of classroom, I need to differentiate my instructions so that I can ensure my learners understand what I'm trying to tell them. So here are the tips for how you can differentiate speaking in your classroom. For example, in my classroom, I use group discussions, and sometimes I use individual presentations so that I can make them talk, come up with different topics that are interesting to them. And most of the time, I design these topics based on their aspiration and interest. So I let them be let them come up with these topics so that they can contribute, so that they can feel that they own that topic, they own that subject. And it's very good, and it makes them speak a lot. So they can watch a movie, for example. I also teach literature and English, so we have a lot of movies we watch. So I can just tell them, you are going to watch a movie, and after watching the movie, you are going to do this and this. So this prepare them to know what exactly I'm expecting from them. You can also give them a role play. For example, I once gave them a play, after reading a poem, a freedom song by Marjorie Oluto McGoy from Kenya, that's poem called A Freedom Song. I gave my students that's a role to play in that poem, and it came up perfectly. You can see even the slow learners, they are struggling to talk because the poem is so interesting, so touching. You can also give them discussion before or after listening to an audio clip. For example, I once gave them a clip of Martin Luther King Jr., I'll Have a Dream. So they listen to the audio, and each and everyone want to talk like Martin Luther, want to memorize, want to retell what Martin Luther said. So this makes them talk a lot. You can also do cultural presentation session once in a while in a classroom. Make them give stories, be it folk tales, anecdotes. Just give them a chance to talk, and they will use the target language, which is English in our case. Also, we have debate competitions. This is what they most love, because while they are competing, they are fighting to win. I enjoy seeing them talk. No matter how the poor English, the grammar, the vocabulary, the pronunciation, the fact that I understand what they are saying, it is more than enough for me. So welcome to my classroom, Kigoma style. So you can see here, I have a group of students. Let me tell you that I have 120 students in my classroom. So what I do is group them according to their abilities. I tell you, it's not a simple task. Not a simple task, but it needs dedication, determination, and the passion for teaching. It is not a simple task. For example, here I divide them 25 students per session, and I give them tasks, read, they listen to audio clips. So all these make them enjoy my classroom. Sometimes they even call me for my session, madam, the time is up now, you need to come. Yes, so this is what we need to do, to go my extra miles to make our classroom enjoyable. Also here you can see now in another set, and I can see my students here in a group. I group them with learning station. So I just group them and I ask them to choose the name of the fruits, for example, they love most. And they say, for example, we love our group to be called Team Apples, another group Team Mangoes, another Banana. So I know it is my little secret that Team Banana have this problem. Team Apples have this problem. I don't tell them. So I just know it, and I know I can help you. I can help them in a group wise. So it's a very, very nice to differentiate. Yeah. Also here you can see them right. What I do most is to emphasize on writing before speaking. This helps them a lot to gain confidence. As someone said, that's no data, no right to speak. So to build a little more confidence for them, I ask them to write down some tips before they go to present before their classroom. So this is what they do now. Next, please. So here is how do we ensure that our multimedia doing what we exactly planned? For example, here say multimedia principles. For according to Maya 2001, it says people learn better from words and pictures and not words. The learner's profile. You come across many kind of learning styles from your student. So based on that profile, you will know which media I can use based on the aspiration, interests, prior knowledges, language, background, etc. So all these medias should be coherent. They love this movie. I don't know why. That on what you try, you want them to cut. Also, it's signaling before you give them maybe to watch a movie or an audio clip or an assignment. Please make signal. Tell them exactly what you expect them to understand by the end of that activity. So it is not only the enjoying the classroom, but learning. Also the modality that you mix words, pictures, yeah, it makes like a consolidation of the lesson. Also the voice, for example, you have given them some maybe audio clips. Make sure it is audible enough for everyone, even inclusive to the slow ones. those with low ability to understand, for example, so they can grasp something. And the last but not least is continuity, that you should make your media consistently. Use it once in a while so that they can understand your kind of teaching. So it is very, very useful when you apply these multimedia principles before you use any kind of media in your classroom. And this call for my the end of my presentation. Maybe, do you think you can now be able to differentiate why and why not? Would you think that you can differentiate now, despite all the odds? You can write it in the chat box, or you can email me on my email, monadimasha@gmail.com. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram by the name Umi Ali. Thank you for your attention. Thanks for the darkness. Thank you, Amira.
Thank you very much, Manidi, for your presentation and for sharing some good and quick tips for us to differentiate instruction. What is really inspiring about your talk is the context that you are teaching in and the challenges that you are facing as a teacher, but still you are doing your best to motivate your learners and also differentiate your instruction using multimedia in teaching. You can't, of course,
Thank
present
you.
everything in 15 minutes, but to give us really some good and quick tips to follow.
Thank
And
you.
I hope you can read the chat box also to read the comments from the audience. And if we have any questions, please also feel free to post them there. So congratulations, great presentation. And thank you for presenting despite of the challenges of power cut. This is not easy, I know, but you did an amazing job, Manidi.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Okay, it's all the positive comments, no questions. Great, and thank you, Rose, for your help as well. We are very glad to see you back again here, helping behind the scenes. Okay, next we are moving to our last presenter tonight, Edith, and she has been very patient waiting till the end, but I'm sure it's also waiting for a great presentation here. Edith is a classroom teacher from Togo, and we are very happy to have for the first time in the program a teacher from Togo participating in the mentoring program. We are looking forward to your presentation, Edith, tonight. You have 15 minutes, and after that, we are going to receive questions. The floor is yours. You are muted.
Okay, thank you, Amira, for giving me the floor. Yes. Okay, I say thank you for giving me the floor. I'm very happy to be part of this program, which teach us or gives us ways or strategies to be a good presenter. And I'm very happy to be part of this program. So as you said, my name is Edith Chanda from Togo. Edith Chanda from Togo, an English language teacher, as you said it previously. And you can see my topic is effective strategies for teaching speaking in the Togolese context.
Edith, we don't see the slides.
Ah, okay.
You haven't shared them yet.
You don't see them?
Not yet.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
No.
Do you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
We see your video, but not your screen.
Oh. Why?
You need to go to Zoom and share screen.
Is it right? No, I'm sharing it. Sorry. Is it okay?
Not yet.
Oh, why? Not yet.
Yeah, you just need to click share screen on Zoom.
Yes, I did it. I don't know why. Okay. So let's
don't
see it again. Sorry for that. Okay. Sorry. Oh la la. Control Alt Gram. I don't know. My computer is having. Is it
Yes,
okay?
started sharing now.
Is it okay?
But
Okay.
we see your desktop.
Ah, okay. Okay. No. Sorry. Sorry for that.
It's okay. You
Sorry.
can just click on the slides.
Okay. Yes, I will just click on the slides and see if it will come. Sorry for that. I don't know why it happened like that.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's opening
Is
now.
it okay? So as I said, my topic is titled Effective Strategies for Teaching Speaking in the Togolese Context. I chose to investigate in this field because I myself, I was a victim of the kind of way we were taught in the past. The way we were taught did not enable us to use the language. And before I go ahead, I would like to have an answer to this question. What is the first aim of a language? May it be the native or a second language that you learn? What is the first aim of a language that we learn? Please, 1 minute to have the answer to that question. Can someone tell me something? The first aim of a language we learn, may it be our native language or, yes? Please, Amira. The same communication.
Yeah, we have communication with others.
Yes. So that is correct. So the first aim of the language we learn is to communicate. And learning English also, it is important to be ready to use the language to communicate. If you are not able to use it to speak, to communicate, I think it is no use learning it, I can think. So I will give my presentation through the following outline. We have introduction, literature review, speaking activities, conclusion, challenges, recommendation, and references. First of all, you must see that Togo is a West African country. Its capital is Lomé. It is a majestic country, small but majestic, with 8 million inhabitants. And our country has more than 40 native languages and that are spoken in the country. So our educational system is, as you see, that is our uniform. And our educational system has 3 levels. 3 levels, primary, secondary, and high schools. And our Togolese educational system is patterned on French model. And all the curricula taught in schools are designed in French. So English is just used as a second language, taught in schools as a second language. But the language is very important in Togo. English is very important in Togo in many fields. As you can see, we use English in schools in Togo. We use it at the university in schools to get grades. At the universities in Togo, for example, when you want to register in any department at all, you need a bit skill in English before they can register you there. And in everyday's life, for example, when you want to apply for a job or you want to work with an international organization or apply for a scholarship, you need skills in English. In businesses, Togo is interacting with English-speaking countries, and English is important for us. So English helps Togo to be competitive economically, politically, and socially. And so our leaders, our education leaders, our authorities are doing a great job in order to help Togolese speak English. In that way, a day is designed currently every Friday. You must use the language wherever you go. Every Friday, you have to use the language. And there are many organizations helping learners in Togo to engage in English speaking. As I mentioned it here, you have TITO, Togo English Teachers Organization, doing a great job in order to help learners speak English in Togo. But a lot remains to do, a lot, because unfortunately, Togolese don't speak English as such. They don't speak English as such. And why don't we speak English? First, because we are a French-speaking country. And what prevents us from speaking the language efficiently is that our native languages influence our learning, our English learning. And also, French we speak influence the language. So we have to do our own great effort to be able to master the language. And one more thing is that the syllabus that is designed in schools are the focus more on reading and writing and less on speaking. The focus more on reading and writing, less on speaking. And also the class size in Togo is very high, so that teachers don't know how, or they don't have the real time to design speaking activities. And according to website that I visited, they say Togo is among the worst English-speaking countries in Africa. English-speaking countries in Africa, Togo is among the worst. So something must be done in order to allow Togolese to speak English if they need to use it for their future. That is why I decided to investigate in that domain, in that field. And I went through some researches, and many agree that it is important to teach speaking. Many scholars agree that it is important to teach speaking. We should not only focus on reading and writing every day with our students, we should teach them how to speak, how to use the language. The vocabulary we teach them, the grammar we teach them, how they should use it to communicate, to exchange with their friends. And for that, Go and Burns said, they say, because speaking is a complex and demanding skill, which can pose a great challenge to learners, practice alone is considered insufficient to develop speaking competence. Thus, teachers need to combine both direct teaching and oral practice. So if you teach grammar and you don't practice oral, it is no use. It is important. And also, Mama Rao from Benin says that storytelling is a uniquely powerful linguistic psychological technique in the hands of a language teacher. And that is why I decided to use speaking activities, and I lay emphasis in my class. I practiced storytelling and story completion. But there are various speaking activities. As you can see, we have discussions, role plays, picture describing, debates, listening activities. There are various speaking activities that we can engage students through in our classroom if you want them to use the language for communication. But in my context, in African context, I found storytelling and story completion very relevant for our cultural background so that we can teach speaking through them. Teaching speaking cycle is here by Go and Burns. They give the task that we must conduct when teaching speaking. For example, they say when we want to teach speaking, we must focus learners' attention on speaking. We must also provide input and guides planning. We must also facilitate feedback on learning, etc. So there are many steps that we must follow when we want to teach speaking. So for storytelling, as I said, how should we tell our stories? So there is a pitch of my student during a storytelling session. Now, how should we tell stories? First, the teacher must tell the story. You tell the story during a session. Now you ask students to summarize the story, even a short summary. For the next session, you can ask them to tell their own stories. They tell them whatever the language they use, let them tell the story and encourage them, motivate them. Now, after that, during other sessions, you will be motivating them from time to time, and during the process, you engage them in their own creations, create their own stories and tell them. And at that level, you will see amazing things. Students are very creative, so they will come with stories, interesting stories from their cultural background that they know that they create themselves and they tell it. And it is important. During that process, it is important to know that students learn much. They learn much because storytelling and story completion are, according to me, in my context, a motivational way of teaching the language, teaching the speaking, because they will not be forced. The language will come spontaneously from them and they will use it. As you see here, it was a session of storytelling, and after that, we went to some story completion. So story completion consists of telling a story. You tell the story first, and willingly you choose not to end the story, not to end the tale. Now you ask them to end the tale. You can ask them to write down the end of the story. So they write it. For the next sessions, you ask them, okay, orally to end the tale. And you will see there will be various ways of ending the tale, which will be different from what the author himself wrote. And it is important because this way of teaching engages students in speaking skills. And here there is yes, as you see, sorry. Yes, I was showing you here some pictures of story completion here, and the classmates following the story completion. So let me stop here and say that storytelling and story completion, people will find it very, maybe as a play, as something amusing, but it is true that our students learn more. They learn how to speak. And because I experienced it in my classroom, and students who in the past were timid, they were not confident to speak in the class, became more engaging in the speaking. People will say, no, we have English clubs where we can speak or we can use the language. Yes, in English clubs, you can use the language, but most of the time, students who participate in English clubs are those who are confident, who most of the time know how to use the language. But the timid one don't attend English clubs when you attend. So it is important to lay emphasis in the classroom on the teaching of speaking. So I will not take more time. I will conclude my work by saying that storytelling and story completion provide opportunities for authentic learning, as I said, because it conveys our cultural background, our culture, and everyone will come out with his cultural background through storytelling and will be able to use the language. And as I said, the timid and confused students become confident. And learners retain more information when it is presented in a narrative style. Yes. And when teaching speaking, I came across many challenges. We face many challenges when we teach speaking. Why? The first is that the students' proficiency to use the language at the very beginning will be very, very low. It will be difficult for them at the very beginning to use the language. But in the process, you will see that they will change. And also in Togo, the class size. You can see here a pitch. The size. I have classes of more than 100 students in high school. So it will be difficult to conduct speaking tasks, but still we should do it. And also the fear of mistakes. Why do I say the fear of mistakes? Because French-speaking countries like mocking people when they speak, but it's not good. When you speak up and people laugh or people mock at you, it's not good. You will not be encouraged to continue speaking. So that is why I say English-speaking countries, they don't know such things, but French-speaking countries, students like mocking their friends, and others fear their mistakes and they don't want to speak up. It is important to make them confident. That's why we try to do. And now, another challenge is the appropriate time we must design for these speaking activities, because we have a syllabus to cover during the whole year. Now, when are we going to teach the speaking? When are we going to teach the speaking tasks? So each teacher must design an appropriate time to teach speaking. It's not because we have a syllabus to cover that we must always be emphasizing on reading and writing alone. Because if we read and write and we cannot use it to communicate, I don't think it will serve us a lot. And for that, I have some recommendations that I will give. I say we must extend the type of talks students can take part in, okay? Design speaking tasks, a lot of speaking tasks, and teachers should work out the speaking skills they want to develop and plan activities accordingly. Also, when teaching speaking activities in overcrowded classes, we should involve the whole class. If our class is large, we should not be focusing on the students who always speak. We should focus on all the students and help the timid ones to show up or to speak up. And also, we should be role models for our students. In order to not to let the language interference, our native languages interfere with the English we speak. As I said, I myself, the way I was taught, you can see that the way we speak is different from the way English-speaking country people speak the language. And we are making a great effort to make it. So we should help our learners to come out of that situation, not to face the same problem as we faced in the past. That is why we must find funny, motivational, and real-life situation activities related to our context in order to teach speaking. I can say that I am at the end of my presentation. I thank everybody for his attention, and I use these references to enhance my research. So I thank my mentor, a man, a chef. I think, thank you for the great job you did with me. Thank you, Amira. Thank you, dear mentors and all the mentees. I thank you all. And if there is a question or I'm waiting for your inputs so that I can better my work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation and for sharing everything about the experience from the start to how you thought about the problem and how you did some readings about it and then how you applied it in your classroom and sharing with us some of the challenges and how you overcome them. This is very inspiring, Edith. Thank you very much. I like what you said about mitigating the interference of the first language, but also keeping English for communication, which is the main purpose. Thank you for the strategies. In the chat box, we have the audience saying the great classroom strategies, wonderful presentation. It's a great way that you started by asking them to tell the story in their native language. This is really very encouraging, especially for students with low proficiency levels. Great topic. Thank you so much. I hope you can read the chat box, Edith. If you have any questions, please feel free to use your mic as well to speak or just write it in the chat box. It's all well done, and thank you. Blessing is giving you a very great idea, a great idea actually to start reading the club in your country. I hope you could read this comment from Blessing. Extend your work to other teachers in Togo by doing a reading club. Okay, it's all thanks and well done. And I agree, Edith, thank you very much for the good job and for your presentation. A great way to end our event tonight by thanking all the presenters who are presenting tonight for the first time on an international platform. And we are very proud of them and the work that they have done to complete this program and reach this stage to present their work. They have been working for 3 months on their presentation skills and also on their topics with their great mentors. We are very proud of the work that both mentees and mentors have put into this program so far. We are still not coming to an end because we still have actually 5 presenters next week presenting from different African countries about great topics. I'm sure also we'll listen to great presentations as well. I'd like to say congratulations to our presenters tonight and also to our great mentors, males and females. And this event is not really exclusive for female audience because we got some questions like this. It's open for all. And I would like to thank our mentors again, our mentees for their dedication and commitment and for their success tonight in all their presentations, overcoming the different challenges that come with being committed to your professional development as women and as the female classroom teachers in this context as well. We're very proud of you and like to say congratulations to all of you tonight. I'd like to tell our audience to stay tuned next week for the 5 presenters we have from this program as well. Please join us to celebrate the success of them next week at the same time on the Africa ELTA platform. You can use your mics to say bye because now you have access to use your mics. Before you couldn't. But I'd like to take a group photo for all of us here before we leave. So I'd ask all the mentors in attendance and also all the mentees, of course, our audience to turn on their videos so we can take the photo. Okay. We have the first one here. 1, 2, 3. Plus we have another one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you all and have a great night. Bye bye.